What is up, everybody? Welcome to Party on Broad. Today, we are breaking down our top 3 reasons to be excited, to be psyched about the 2024-2025 Philadelphia 76ers. Joining me to help me break it down, the best of the business. He is Sean_Bernard1 on X, one of the best Sixers follows on X there is. What's going on, Sean?
Yeah, under 2 weeks until we're officially hitting the ground running and the season is off to the races. So cannot wait. We're fully locked in for basketball season now. So excited to actually see these guys on the court. We're going to get a first look at Paul George in the Sixers uniform in actual gameplay tomorrow. So yeah, the vibes are up.
Yeah, man. I mean, let's be real. Like they played a team from New Zealand on Monday. But I thought all the reasons why I'm excited about this team were fully on display, even without Joel Embiid and Paul George. And we're going to break down my top 3 reasons. I don't know Sean's top 3 reasons. We're going to go 3-1 in this thing. Guys, if you're watching us live, please be sure to do all that fun stuff. Subscribe. Make sure you follow Sean one more time. Let's jump into this thing. Sean, what is your number 3 reason to be excited for the Sixers?
My number 3 reason, and one that I don't think has gotten enough appreciation across the Sixers landscape here, it's Nick Nurse to me. We have not talked enough about the Sixers are going to have a coaching advantage on just about a night-by-night basis. I think this year he has the tools, he has the personnel. This is a proven championship coach that he can now pull the strings how he sees fit. We're in year 2 that it's clear to me, even in one preseason game, which obviously not quite the standard that we're going to keep here, but it's clear that they're building off what they did last year. That I think that the foundation was built last year. They're going to take those next steps with, and I do think Nurse is going to win this team a handful of games this year, which we've never been able to say about a coach in a Sixers uniform.
I love that. Nick Nurse season, I put for you, number 3. I'm going to go, I'm going for the win here because we're going to put this out on the poll. But my number 3 is no more Tobias Harris. I am still, Sean, head over heels over the concept that we don't have to watch Toby in a Sixers uniform. The same guy that put up a goose egg during that Game 7 against the Knicks. Also the same guy that put together 2 points in a home game, Game 6 against the Celtics, the previous postseason. Man, that albatross of a contract just was a chokehold on the Sixers the past half decade. Truly limited what the Sixers could do. I'm not solely blaming Tobias Harris, but I'm also not blaming him. The aversion to shoot open threes, never taking a charge, never learning how to throw an entry pass, all the miscommunications on defense, all the nights of Tobias watching rebounds and loose balls go right by him. Man, one of my favorite things about watching sports is, high IQ, a sharp team, a team that moves the basketball, a team with a system, a team that knows its identity. The Sixers finally have dogs and toughness scattered throughout the roster, and a big reason why I'm so excited for the 2025 Sixers is the absence of Tobias Harris in a uniform. Get him the hell out of here. Give me Tobias Harris is gone.
Yeah, I think that one will win you over some voters for sure, and one that you're absolutely spot on here. So, yeah, it feels like 20 years that we've been watching Tobias Harris play basketball, and it is nice to finally be free. And I guess to send him off in a little bit of an appreciation factor, at least that cap hit opened the door for us to change this team drastically. So it was not a fun experience, but the Tobias Harris era is finally over.
Thank God. Mm-hmm. What's your number 2?
My number 2, a modernized roster. I think for the first time in the Joel Embiid era, we have multiple wings who can switch positions, who can guard. There's multiple directions you can go, from Caleb Martin to Kelly Oubre to Paul George to Gershon Yabusele. There's a bunch of guys who can play. It felt like for so long, the Sixers were just left behind the rest of the NBA as far as their old-fashioned view of positions, of rosters, of all these type of things. I think they now have the pieces to fully maximize and succeed in this era of basketball. And I do think Nick Nurse is the right guy to pull those strings, get it out of them. So I'm very thrilled with the entire depth of this team.
Yeah, I'm just going to piggyback off of that. Dude, when's the last time the Sixers had legit perimeter defense? Mm-hmm. The upside is real, man. This is a team that heavily relied on guys like Daniel House and DeAnthony Melton, Pat Beverly, Marcus Morris. You go on, and it's been a disaster class, to say it lightly. But for now, for the first time in what seems like forever, the Sixers finally have length. They've got size all across the rosters. Probably the best perimeter defending team we've seen for the Sixers since Ben Simmons and Jimmy Butler shared the court together. It's going to be fun. I love the, idea of like a small ball lineup of Yabusele at the 5, a guy that knows his body, knows how to, take advantage of mismatches. The Sixers roster has 8 guys with a wingspan of 6'11" or greater. They've got an on-ball defender in Caleb Martin. They got a guy that can switch on the perimeter in Paul George. And they've got a guy in Kelly Oubre who we already know can match up with the opposing team's best perimeter player. Simply not having Tobias Harris, Kyle Lowry defend the opposing team's best player, man, is just an unspoken upgrade. So this team is a team that matches up so much better with the Celtics, with the Knicks than years past. Give me perimeter defense, man, and inject it all into my veins.
Yeah, totally agree there. And it's nice, once again, the options, that it's not like you have your one Matisse Thybulle that is your defensive stopper, or one guy that you know is going to play that we're going to see different looks thrown at opposing teams. We're going to see different schemes, a bunch of different mix-ups, which they just straight up have not had the personnel to do that in years past. So it's awesome the way that this roster is fully constructed. So hat tip to Nick Nurse, to Daryl Morey, and everyone in between there.
Yeah, again, I was the biggest Daryl Morey doubter there was last year. I never saw it
off.
He did, and I give him so much credit for that. What's your number 1?
My number 1, so I was torn on this one, so I found a way to work them all together. I'm going with the best big 3 in the NBA.
Ooh.
For starters, my what I almost went with was just Paul George, because I still think he goes a little underappreciated how impressive it was for Daryl Morey to thread the needle to get a true max contract guy. We have not seen a player just outright leave a team and sign a new contract, a new max contract with another organization since 2019. It's always constantly opting into it and being traded, or a sign-in trade or something along those lines. No, Daryl Morey cleared the cap space, created the spot, and Paul George walked right through that door. I think he deserves all the praise in the world for that happening. The guy I didn't want to get left out, and why I didn't want to go with just Paul George here, is I think we're still going to see a leap from Tyrese Maxey this year, man. That guy is not done getting better, and I cannot wait to see what version of him comes back this year. And to tie it all together, let's not leave out the MVP from 2 seasons ago, the guy who was on pace for arguably the most impressive individual season of all time last year before he got hurt, in Joel Embiid. So I love the fit of all 3 of them together, a true guard, a true wing, and a true big man. That to me is how big 3 should be built in today's NBA, or really ever. And I cannot wait to see them play on the floor together.
Yeah, you kind of stole my thunder. It's what it is. But for me, Tyrese Maxey lands the plane and becomes an MVP candidate. Maxey taking that next step is my number 1. I think that's by far the biggest reason for optimism. Becoming a go-to guy on the perimeter, a closer of sorts. We've been waiting for that guy since Jimmy Butler left Philadelphia. We've seen flashes of it in previous seasons. We've heard it multiple times from Joel Embiid during training camp. Paul George settling into that 3-and-D plus role. And, I still think Tyrese Maxey can add much more polish to his overall game. He still needs to learn how to make the extra pass. He still needs to learn how to get his teammates the open 3. And I just love the roster cohesion on this team for the first time in what seems like forever. So could he be a dark horse for the MVP? Maybe, maybe not. But I still think this is a guy that all signs point to him being the true go-to player, go-to scorer on this team come playoff time in 6 to 8 months from now. So for me, give me Tyrese Maxey is the real deal. He's the frame. He's still. I feel like we still forget that he's only 23 years old.
It's been through a lot in a short amount of time, that kid.
And we talked a lot during the offseason about, will Joel Embiid accept a lesser role? Will Paul George accept a lesser role? They're saying all the right things, man. There's true. What's the lack of? I don't know the word is. It's escaping me. But they seem to understand that Maxey has to be the guy.
Yeah, no, I agree with you that obviously, like, once we see it on the floor is what's going to matter significantly more. But everything everyone has said has been absolutely correct and what you want to hear as far as outlook here. So I think that's a great sign there. I also think like Paul George, I think he takes a lot of slack at times. I think he's turned a page in his career at this point that he's ready to be the number 3. I think he understands that he's fitting in to Tyrese Maxey and Joel Embiid here, that he's the third guy. I think that's important, that this isn't a guy who's going to rock the boat or be a little disruptive that we've seen with other guys like Jimmy Butler or things like that. So I do think they got the right mix between this trio here, and I cannot wait to see what it fully looks like.
All right. There is our top 3 reasons to be excited about the Philadelphia 76ers. Guys, if you agree or disagree, or if you have other reasons, let us know down in that comment section below. Sean, where can we find you, man? What do you got going on?
Yeah, you guys can follow me on Twitter or X at Sean_Bernard1. Check out Sixers Digest and Phillies Digest over on YouTube. I know the Phillies are down the drain now, but we did still break out some recap stuff, and it's going to be a busy offseason, so make sure to tap in over there. But I'm really looking forward to locking in for this full Sixers season, so make sure to check that out. You can also catch me on Fox Sports The Gambler from 11 to 1 tomorrow with Mark Henry Jr., so we'll be chatting up some NBA totals across the board and everything else there. So ready to power through another big Sixers season. I'm locked in.
Absolutely, guys. The best in the business right there at Sean_Bernard1. Tomorrow night, we'll be doing a post game for Sixers versus Timberwolves. And I'm excited because Paul George will make his Sixers debut. There's some confusion about if it's going to be able to, you're going to be able to see it or not. But I think there are definitely going to be some avenues to that. Some legal, some not so legal. We'll see. So he is Sean. I am Dobbs. Thanks for watching, guys. See you tomorrow night. Stay awesome.